So I've been helping people with their health and fitness for about 10 years now, and probably the most common question I get is, what kind of workouts should I be doing? Should I be doing weights, HIIT, cardio, spin, whatever? And I want this video to serve two purposes. First, I want to design like the perfect workout. And second, I want to show you that you actually don't need a ton of equipment or time or even like skill to get like a really good workout and stay really healthy, really fit. So my last video, I talked about like my ultimate health system. If you missed that one, go check it out. And I focused on outlining like the hierarchy of stuff that you should care about. Today we're talking about intentional movement, and that is exercise. And I've sort of taken a couple really important scientific principles and like boiled them down. My goal is to show you the simplest way to get fit without a ton of, honestly, dedication, time, or money. In my time in the gym, I've done a lot of different workouts. I've done weightlifting, powerlifting, bodybuilding, yoga, Pilates, spin, CrossFit, swimming, rowing, cycling, biking, rock climbing. Pretty much anything that someone calls exercise, I've very much willingly tried. I love practicing new skills, moving my body in new ways, and generally getting the novelty of trying interesting stuff. But what if science proved that you only needed 2 workouts to really stay fit, stay lean, healthy, and flexible for the rest of your life? That sounds pretty sweet to me. So like I said, I basically have 2 points to make in this video. First, you only need 2 workouts to achieve what I would consider to be like a decent, healthy fitness level. And secondly, on the contrary, I'll actually encourage you to try a bunch of different workouts and completely contradict myself. Stick with me, it's gonna be brilliant. Okay, so my first point, why you only need 2 workouts to get really fit. And this basically applies to everyone except people who are already highly trained individuals. You only need 2 workouts because these 2 types of sessions get you 90% of what I would argue you need in a decent fitness program. To me, you're like economy class, no power windows fitness programs should keep you strong, should keep you flexible and cardiovascularly fit, readying you to perform like the basic tasks that life demands and look sexy doing it. The first workout is what I call intelligent strength training. This is a full body, moderate intensity weightlifting session. The goal here is to target big ticket compound movements that target the largest muscles of the body, and doing that sometimes all at once. To me, this workout must include some variations of squats, deadlifts, presses, pull downs, planks, and farmer's carries. You wouldn't pick exercises here that target small muscle groups like the forearms, the calves, because it's not very time efficient, and those muscles are more than likely being trained via proxy during our compound movements like lunges and deadlifts. You'd pick exercises, compound exercises that are big bangs for your bucks exercises because they drive a larger physical and neurological response. Because really what I'm after here is muscle hypertrophy and the neurological stimulus of intensity. This gives us strong bones, muscles, tendons, and joints for life. It gives us flexibility, gives us movement, confidence, and competency, emotional resiliency. It keeps our blood pressure normal, our heart strong, and minds calm. That sounded weirdly like some sort of, I don't know, vaguely Friday Night Lights thing, but it works. The benefits of this style of training are endless for basically every age group, and we're still discovering more like by the year. And I can't really think of a group who wouldn't benefit from like targeted, challenging weightlifting sessions unless they're like a kid under 12 years old. And even then I would still do it for like the movement patterns. And basically every decade after that, it becomes more important. Strength training is quite literally the fountain of youth if you're over like 30 years old. By the way, not hating on the calf or forearm training, it's just we're trying to get people into the gym, and I feel like it doesn't drive enough of a physical or like emotional response or like intensity, like I'm working out, and those muscles are being trained via proxy, like I said. And eventually you'll get stronger, and you can't do the exact same workout every time you go to the gym. So over time, you'd progress this by sort of adjusting the dials, right? The style of exercise, the sets and reps, the weight you use, or even your intensity. The beautiful thing about selecting these movement patterns is that there's really no ceiling when it comes to adjusting these dials. And that's also why it's probably best to avoid the small isolation exercises, because no one really knows they're like 1 rep max calf raise, you know what I mean? And again, I'm not saying these exercises don't have a time and place, because I love a good bicep curl, but in terms of effective work performed, If you're on a time budget, the calf raise ain't got nothing on something like a leg press or even a goblet squat. And then by changing the style of each movement, you can target different parts of the muscle and also reduce boredom. For example, a dumbbell row could just as easily become a 3-point row depending on the day, what you feel like doing, availability of equipment, but you're still doing that big compound movement. You've just changed slightly the movement pattern, but you're still getting a very similar stimulus. Goodness me. Science shows us that you could theoretically perform this same set of exercises as often as you like, as long as the target muscle that you're trying to train isn't still sore, on and on, probably for your entire life without diminishing returns. The consistent nature of the plan allows your hearts, your joints, and your muscles and tendons to stay healthy and long, and generally keeps you psychologically and physiologically at peace. Okay, that's the first workout. The second workout is what we call steady state, which is essentially a long bout of low intensity cardio. The benefits of this workout are literally endless, and again, it's recommended to pretty much every age group. And I think, as a brief aside, I think kids get this naturally from playing outside with their friends. Like, I wouldn't stick a kid on a treadmill, but if you throw a kid outside with their friends, like, they're probably gonna run around at like a relatively low intensity for about an hour before they get tired. So let's talk about this steady state business, AKA long slow distance, AKA LSD. It was developed for athletes across sports to improve their like baseline fitness. It's pretty simple. You just hop on a cardio machine, bang out between 30 and 60 minutes, about 60% intensity, and then leave. Steady state has been shown to dramatically improve the cardiovascular system, the heart and the lungs. To make it slightly more scientific, steady state trains the aerobic pathway, which is the third and like most enduring of our energy systems. It can convert all macronutrients into energy, fats, carbs, and proteins, but it mostly uses fats and carbohydrates to produce energy. Now, as a brief aside, you might be asking yourself, wait a minute, if there are 3 energy systems and we're only training one with this steady state business, how is this the perfect workout? I don't know what I'm talking about. This guy doesn't know shit. I got you. Turns out we readily train the other 2 energy systems during weight training. Maximal effort sets train the creatine phase, while the sets of like 10 to 20, they train the anaerobic lactate system. So we've got all your bases covered with workouts 1 and 2. The results of steady state are pretty astounding. Physically, you get this massive list of benefits, from fat loss to skin health on the inside and on the outside of you. Psychologically, meta-analyses show improved cognition, decreased anxiety, decreased mild to even moderate depressive symptoms, and improved acuity. Steady state can help you literally think more clearly. Now, I should note that this training can be relatively movement specific. So if you have a particular movement that you'd like to improve on, running, swimming, biking, whatever, you're probably best served performing that movement most of the time so that you can see movement specific gains. If you don't really have anything you'd like to improve on, you just want to get fitter, you can pick which one you like the best, or you can switch it up even once in a while. You can even switch it up mid-session. This is what a lot of my clients do. We do like around the world cardio, alternating between machines like every 10 to 20 minutes. And yeah, it works pretty well. It really reduces some of the boredom. Like if you hear 60 minutes on the Stairmaster, you're like, oh my God. But if you hear 5 minutes at each machine, you're moving around, maybe you get someone else to do it with you, the time passes much faster. Steady state reaps massive gains, and you get a huge calorie burn without really expending much effort at all. You don't need to like summon the inner mojo, like here we go, because you just sort of have to show up and be patient, and that's really the only ask of the session. I honestly usually watch TV or videos, or if I can wrangle, like I said, if I can wrangle someone to do it with me, the time passes much quicker. So that's 1, that's 2. The obvious big problem with these workouts is boredom, and pretty much everyone deals with this. They start a fitness routine based on, I don't know, a recommendation from a friend, a local community thing, something they saw on Instagram, and they think this is the best thing for their health, which is legit. But after a while, they fall off for reasons, honestly, usually related to boredom. When I worked at a CrossFit gym, we actually had a chart of like different fall off times. You had the Icarus types who would come out like super hot and would fade away really, really quickly. Maybe 2 weeks. They'd come in for like 10 sessions in 10 days, and then you'd never see them again. Then you had mid-range folks, lasted about 3 to 4 months. This is the time frame where like novelty usually wears off, or an old injury might flare up, or they generally realize that slinging barbells around isn't their thing, which I don't, it's totally legit. The last group was actually the most common, and that's the 12-month group. This is like the vast majority of people who did end up leaving the gym did so after about a year, maybe a little bit longer. This is usually due to like a lack of progress or changes in body composition or, again, boredom. Even the most resilient dudes can't slug it out after a year if you like genuinely don't like what you're doing. So this brings me to my second point of the video, where I said it, I would completely contradict myself earlier, which is basically trying as many different kinds of workouts and routines as possible. My honest best advice for your long-term health and long-term exercise and like psychological health is finding something you enjoy. And if you're a beginner, you have no idea what that is, and that's okay. Maddie Rogers, Olympic weightlifter, she only found the sport through CrossFit, which she only found through cheerleading. And her willingness to like try new things led her to find something that she really loves doing. And she's pretty fucking good at it too. Honestly, don't worry about finding like the best workout routine, because you won't stick to even the perfect routine if you absolutely hate it. You know what I mean? Explore your options and find one that brings you legit challenge and legit enjoyment. My general recommendation is find some routine that challenges both your muscles and your cardiovascular system. That's what the two perfect workouts do. And I want people to be open to trying new things, especially if they're convinced that it's like not for them. Half of the women that I coach started off as staunch opponents of lifting weights, arguing that they'd get bulky even if they looked at a dumbbell over 7 pounds. And now they totally love it. So in conclusion, I think that science can show us the most effective habits and movements, but I don't actually think there's a best workout, because I think the best workout is the one that works well for you, for your long-term health. Your schedule challenges you physically and mentally, keeps you healthy, maybe gets you outside among your friends or among your community. Now, as a plug, if you're looking for personal coaching, I offer remote coaching to anyone who's looking to change, become the best version of themselves. So let me know if that helps, and I'll see you in the next one.